Our next session is with a great speaker, Marc Cunningham. Marc grew up in the real estate world and spent many years pulling weeds, painting walls, showing properties, collecting rents for Grace Property Management, the company his father started in 1978. Today, from a platform of managing over 900 properties with 20 team members, Grace Management helps people buy, sell, invest, flip, collect rent, evict, and have fun doing it. If you're more impressed with initials after name, Marc is the president of Grace Property Management and Real Estate, holds a degree in real estate and finance, taught CE classes in over 20 states, has been featured in multiple national real estate publications, holds multiple designations, and was named the 2018 National Property Manager of the Year by Think Realty. Marc lives in Loveland, Colorado, where his failed childhood sports dreams are lived through his children. Please welcome Marc Cunningham.
Hey, thank you. Thank you. Are we on? Good? All right, thank you guys so much. I really appreciate you guys coming out here. What a great event thus far. So let me take you back to 1978, actually 41 years ago last month. My dad, who was a school teacher at the time, a middle school teacher, decides he's going to open a real estate property management company. He decided that training for real estate management is a lot like working with middle schoolers, which it is, best training in the world. So he opens up Grace Property Management and Real Estate. And I was employee number one because I was free child labor at that point in time. So in 1978, if anybody can remember real estate, interest rates were about 18% buy house, remember that? Jimmy Carter's in year number 2 of his presidency. And the Bee Gees had the number 1 hit song on the radio. Does anybody remember what it was? Staying Alive. Very good, very good. So that's the year. And so that's the year I started working for my dad. And whatever needed to be done, I would do. I pulled a lot of weeds. The rule was, if it got over 100 degrees, I got to work in the office. Otherwise, I was outside, working outside the office. So it gave me a unique view, though, into real estate, into property management, because that's what I did. So I'd spend my summers working for him as I grew up. As I got older then, I went to school. I studied real estate. I studied finance. And my dad called me. I was working in Cheyenne, Wyoming. Has anybody been to Cheyenne? Any Wyoming people? Oh, I'm sorry. And so my dad called me and says, hey, I need to hire a real estate agent and property manager. You want the job? So I jumped at that opportunity. That was 20 some odd years ago. At that point in time, I think there were 2-3 of us in the office. We've grown slow and steady. So today we've got 20 some odd folks. We do real estate sales. We do property management. We do residential. We do commercial. We buy and sell ourselves. So I'm an investor. I own some stuff. Our mantra is follow the opportunity. Follow the opportunity. And that's what we do. So I live in the Fort Collins, Loveland area. I've got 2 kids. Jeez, my wife would shoot me. 4 kids and my awesome wife. These are my 2 youngest kids. Now, go to work with Dad Day in the property management space is a little weird, isn't it? Because these are my 2 youngest standing in front of a rental property about to tape a piece of paper to the door. Can you guess what that is? Yes, that's an eviction notice. Now, if you think that's weird and creepy, it totally is. It's like we drive it to the property. I'm like, okay, kids, here's the way it works. We drive it to the property. We leave the car running. That's very important. We get out. We walk up to the front door. We tape the notice. We run back to the car. We get in. We drive away as fast as we can. And we go get ice cream. And my daughter, Elise, she's like, Dad, you have the best job in the world. I was like, yeah, I do. And so let me ask you though, if somebody spent a day with you, or you told them about their day, would their response be, you've got the best job in the world? Probably not. Would it be anywhere on the spectrum of, that's a cool job? See, because I think it should be that. I think we should have fun doing our jobs. And it's not all glory. I mean, I get that. It's a tough industry we're in. But what we found over 40 plus years is as long as you avoid certain things, you can have a pretty good day. You can have a pretty good business to run. And that's what I want to talk about. Now, real quickly, let me just say this. There is not a correlation between the size of a company and the success of the company. So everything I'm going to say applies to you whether you manage 20 doors or 20,000 doors. It doesn't matter. Don't get caught up on the size being important. And the second thing is this. There's also not a correlation at being good at property management tasks, leasing, collecting rent, talking to owners, and the things that make it necessary to run a successful property management company. There's just not a correlation there. So for the next 45 minutes, I want you to think like a company owner. I don't care if you're the front desk person and you just started yesterday. For the next 45 minutes, you're the company owner. And these are the things that you need to make sure you do everything within your power to avoid to make the company successful. So mistake number one is taking any client. Do you have criteria for selecting clients? Because I promise you, your clients have criteria for selecting you. Now your criteria better be more than, will you hire me? Do you have a pulse? Yes, I'll work with you. So what we have found to be very valuable is we use a client value matrix. And a client value matrix simply, it looks like this. If you're taking notes, write this down. Make a box there, and on the vertical axis, the up-down axis, write the word profit, meaning the profitability of the client. High profit on the top, low profit on the bottom. And on the horizontal axis, write the word maintenance, meaning high maintenance owner, a difficult owner, versus an easy owner. And that gives us kind of 4 quadrants there. So if we have 4 quadrants, which of those 4 quadrants ideally do we want our clients to be in? Upper left, right? Upper left. High profit, low maintenance. Those are our cash cows. And if you're taking notes, yes, you must draw a picture of a cow or you don't leave the room today. We love clients there, don't we? They're easy to work with and they pay us a lot of money. We love them. But that's not where all of our clients can be. It's where we want them. But priority number 2 becomes our low profit. We don't make a lot of money, but they're also low maintenance. They're low risk. They're easy. We have some clients that fit into this quadrant. They basically say, hey, Mark, here's our properties, and so maybe it's low income properties, so we're not making a lot of money. But they say this, you know what? Just manage my properties. If they burn down, call me. Otherwise, I don't want to hear from you. We can do that all day long. We love those clients as well. Now, quadrant 3 is where it gets a little sticky. It gets a little tricky because these are our high profit, high maintenance. Ugh, these are hard. What do we do with them? They make a lot. We make money from them, but they drive us crazy. They drive us crazy. We have one client that comes to mind in this quadrant. His name is Frank. Frank used to be a housing inspector. If you're taking notes, you may want to write down, never work with a client who was a housing inspector. Because Frank, when he receives invoices from us, he has never seen an invoice that was quite right. So we'll get a phone call. The phone calls sound like, and he's a nice guy, but he's just difficult. So you'll call and you'll say, Mark, this is Frank. I got the invoice for the winterization of the sprinkler system. Oh, yeah, Frank. It's $45. Yeah, sure. Mark, last year, it was only $43. That's a $2 increase. Just saying, Mark, just saying. And, did the vendor remember to check the head in the back southwest corner of the yard? Because last year, I'm pretty sure that was leaking a little bit. And while they're out there, the trash cans, they looked a little bit loose. Can you check the trash cans? Thanks, buddy. Appreciate it. Oh, it drives us crazy. Right? So we work with Frank, and the way we're set up in our office is we have portfolio property managers. They manage a portfolio of doors. So at one point in time, the property manager who is managing Frank's property comes into my office and says, Mark, I can't handle Frank. He's driving me crazy. Calls me all the time. I can't handle him. I don't want him. I said, I get it. I know Frank. So I emailed Frank. Dear Frank, it's Mark. Hey, hope you're doing well, buddy. You know what? I just don't think our system's a good fit for you. You're real hands-on. We love working with you, but maybe it's time you find a different PM. 30 seconds later, my phone rings, and I see Frank's number on my voicemail. So I do what any of us would do. I let it go to voicemail. And Frank says, hey, Mark, it's Frank. I got your email. Man, I'm sorry. We're good. I'll be better. You guys do a great job. I love you guys. I've got time on my hands. Okay, we're good. Click. Okay, fine. But I have to assign Frank to a different property manager because that property manager won't work with him. Guess what else I did to Frank's account? I charged him more. And he was like, okay, I get it. I get it. 3 months later, same thing happens. Second PM comes to my office. Same thing. Mark is driving me crazy. I can't handle it. No. Okay, I get it. I email Frank a termination email. Dear Frank, appreciate working with you, buddy. Effective the end of the month. Management agreement's terminated. Please move on. Get out of here. Thank you. He calls me again. Please. I'll get better. I'll be better. I love you guys. You guys are so good. You guys are great. I know I'm tough, but please. So I take him back again. Guess what I did again, though, to Frank's fees? Because I had to make it worth it. I kid you not, it happened again a couple months later. And the PM won't do it. Guess who was managing Frank's properties then? Yeah, I was. But I'm charging the guy like a 20% management fee. I'm just greedy enough. I can't turn away 20%. I mean, come on. But these are the hard ones, right? We don't know what to do with these folks. They drive us crazy, and it's not a right or wrong, but you've got to make a business decision there. Now, quadrant 4 is what we don't want. Quadrant 4 is our low profit, high maintenance clients, our dogs. Now, I don't know what you do with your dogs where you live, but in Colorado, we shoot them when they get sick. Okay, that's what we do. Okay, we don't really shoot our dogs. We shoot our cats, but they deserve it. That's another conversation. Okay, so If you have clients in priority 4, if you have high maintenance, low profit clients, you have an obligation, and I mean this sincerely, you have an obligation to do one of two things. Either you move them up to quadrant 3, you charge them for what they're worth, or you get rid of them. That's it. That's all. So let me take a survey, and you must participate. Everybody must participate in the survey. You ready? If you've ever fired a client, raise your hand. If you've ever, okay, keep it up. Now keep it up. Keep it up. Wow. If you do not regret firing the client, put your hand down. If you regret, keep your hand up. If you do not regret, put your hand down. Wow, I see one hand up in the very back, and I would love to know the story. Oh, he just delayed. His wife like, put your hand down. Okay, sorry. I've asked that question of a lot of folks, guys. I've never had someone keep their hand up to say, yeah, I regret it. You know, I did have one guy keep his hand up. I said, sir, I've asked this question of like a lot of people. You actually regret firing your client? Well, why? And he goes, it was my mom. I'm like, okay, that's a whole nother scenario. So if you called into my office today, if you called my office as a potential client and you wanted to work with us, you would talk to one of our property managers, and our property manager would ask you some questions. They would have a client questionnaire in front of them. And it's basic stuff. What's your name? What's your email address? But at the end of this questionnaire, there are 4 questions that the property manager must discern about you during the conversation. So after each one of these questions, there's a little yes or no checkbox that they have to check. And the first question is this: is the client financially stable? We have to glean that information from the conversation. So if you as a prospective client say, hey, if this thing doesn't get rented by Tuesday, I can't make my mortgage payment. Guess what? That's going to be a no. You're not financially stable. We're not going to work with them. We have a second question. Second question is this: is the client emotionally stable? Yes, and those of you giggling have worked with crazy, haven't you? Yeah. How do we discern this? This is a tough one to discern. My recommendation is this: do not ask this question verbatim of your owner client. Guaranteed to make it bad. One of my agents would say, Mark, how do I know? How do I really know if it's... And I said, well, in my view, if they cry on the first conversation, probably not. Or if they own more than 2 cats. They're just not. So move on. Question number 3. Yeah, you laugh, but you know it's true. You know it's true. Okay, question 3. Is this client realistic in expectations? Ooh, that's a big one, isn't it? What do they expect of you? We had a prospective client. I got into my office a while back on a Monday morning, and I had a voicemail. The voicemail was a prospective client. Hey, Mark, this is Bill, and I'm interested in having you guys manage my properties. And the voicemail had come in Friday, late afternoon. I was already gone. So Friday afternoon, he called and left a message. Want to hire you guys maybe to manage a property. Time is of the essence. Please call me quickly. I thought, oh, great, we got a lead. Deleted the message, listened to the next voicemail. It was Bill again. Mark, this is Bill. It's now Saturday morning. Hey, I left you a message yesterday. I don't know if you heard that or not, but I really need to move quickly on this. So if you could please call me today, appreciate it. Okay, delete. Third message. It's now Sunday afternoon. Mark, this is Bill. I've left you 2 messages. I don't know what kind of company you're running, but if you don't return calls at this kind of time, I don't know if we're going to be a good fit or not. I need to hear from you first thing Monday morning, or this just isn't going to work. Click. Do you think I called Bill? No, I gave the referral to my client across the street, my friend Lyle there, and he worked with Bill. Right? That's unrealistic expectations. If he expects a call immediately, it's not going to work. I know he's mad at me and we haven't even worked together. It's not going to end well. Question 4, can I control this client and the situation? Can I control the client? And I don't mean like in a puppet master, I'm the big, mean, controlling person, but when they give us the keys to their front door, you know what better come along with those keys? Control. Because we have to make a lot of decisions. And it's not just the clients. You have to also be able to control the situation. So for example, if you're walking a particular property with a prospective client, and you say, you know, this bedroom here really needs to be repainted. And they go, no, it's good. I don't think so. Oh, okay. I think we can get $1,200 a month in rent. No, I want you to get 15. What? Are you going to be able to control that person? No way. No way. So if you can't answer yes to all 4 of those questions, and this is the rule in our office, if you can't say yes to all 4, not only may they not, I don't want them working with them, but they can't. They don't have permission. We have to turn them away. Is it okay to turn away clients? Absolutely. We know beyond a shadow of a doubt that if 10 people apply to rent a property, a certain percentage of those will not be good tenants, right? We just know that. What, maybe 30%? I don't know. I bet the same percentage of prospective owners are not going to be a good fit. And you need to screen those owners, however you do it, to make sure you don't work with them. So instead of getting excited when the phone rings, you need to temper that excitement with a little bit of skepticism. Okay? That's what successful companies do. All right, number 2, biggest mistake, hiring mistakes. Ugh. Raise your hand if you've ever made a bad hire. Okay, now raise your hand if that bad hire is sitting next to you right now. Okay. Now, hiring is a big deal, isn't it? If we get hiring wrong, we pay the price. And being good at property management doesn't mean you're good at hiring. It's hard, so let me give you a couple pieces of guidance on hiring. Number 1, when to hire. Our recommendation is this. If you're a small company, then do not hire until you're about to drown, until you just can't handle it anymore. Don't hire early. Hiring early is not a good decision. Now, when you're big and you've got some money to spend, money to blow, and it's not going to hurt you, then fine. Then hire early. But gosh, we've got to be cautious on this. Do not staff for growth, please. Okay? That's just an excuse for, I just don't want to fire this person, so I'm staffed for growth. Okay? That just doesn't work. We saw the statistics earlier in one of the sessions. Most companies are down this year. So, I mean, if you have a proven track record of growth, fine. But until you have the proven track record of growth, don't waste your money by hiring somebody who may or may not work. Number 2, think in terms of recruiting rather than hiring. We don't use the word hiring in our office. We use the words recruiting. See, hiring is getting a bunch of resumes from people off of Craigslist, people who can't find jobs, and looking them over to decide who you want to represent your company. Not a great recipe for success. Recruiting is going out and being proactive, finding people that are already good at what they're doing, and getting them to come to you. Now, I don't mean stealing agents away from your competitors. That's not what I'm talking about. But have you ever been having lunch or dinner and the waiter or waitress is just like awesome? You're like, man, that would be an amazing person. I was talking to Chuck between sessions, and somehow this came up, and he said, the last person I hired was my waitress at Bennigan's or something, because she was so good. I gave this talk a while back, and at the break, an agent came up to me and she gave me her card. She said, Mark, I have 2 cards. Here's my regular business card. Here's my other card. Look at it. And it was on the front end side, it looked normal. On the back, it said this: you would be amazing at real estate. If you're ever interested in talking about a career in real estate, call me. She said, anytime I'm at a restaurant, anytime I meet somebody that I think would be good, I give them my card. That's how we find quality people. If you're looking for somebody, one thing we've done is we will take a day. I've taken days and driven through multifamily Class A complexes and gone in as a prospect to meet their leasing people. Because multifamily trains people well, don't they? And I don't feel too bad about stealing people from the multifamily world. So you have permission for that. Our VP of operations, Daniel, who's somewhere in the room. Daniel, are you in the room? Or is he sleeping? He's waving, right? Daniel just waves his hand. He was my banker. He did all my loans. When I would want to buy a property, I'd go see Daniel. And he was a younger guy, and I was just impressed. He was just good. He was sharp. And so for a long time, I said, Daniel, have you ever thought of real estate? You'd be good in real estate. Nah, I couldn't do real estate. I love what I do. Well, given enough time, we recruited him, and he's awesome. We've recruited many, many of our team members. So think that way. You're going to want to recruit, not hire. Number 3, use an objective people filter. So when you do have a prospective candidate, how do you know if they're any good? I just got a good feeling about them. Well, you had a good feeling about your first wife too, didn't you? Okay, so here are what we recommend on an objective filter. We use our 4 C's, our 4 filters. Number 1 is character. And by character, what I don't mean is, do they lie, do they cheat, do they steal? We all get that. But what are the specific character aspects you want to see in somebody that works in your office? For example, one of our character aspects is we say we are happy. We want happy people. Because who wants to work with Eeyore? Have you ever had Eeyore in your office? Ugh. Yeah, if you're under 40, you're like, what's he talking about? What's Eeyore? He's been smoking too much Colorado marijuana. We don't know what that is. All right, we want happy people. That's a character issue for us. We want that. Second thing is chemistry. And by chemistry, what I simply mean is how likable are they? There has to be that likability. If they drive you crazy by the end of the interview, don't hire them. Have you ever had that? Like, we had an interview a while back with somebody, and they were good, they were great. But they were boring, and I didn't like them, and so that's probably my fault. I get it. But there's got to be a chemistry aspect. Number 3, culture. And by culture, we mean, do they buy into the unique way that you do business? We all do business a little bit differently. One of our cultural things is we say we're professional. I mean, we don't do suits and ties every day, but we're professional in everything we do, in the way we dress, in the way we communicate, in the way our office is decorated. Everything exudes professionalism as part of our culture. Not a right or wrong, it's just who we are. So when a person came in to interview a while ago, and they were in flip-flops and shorts, nothing, and I liked them, but that's not a good cultural fit. It just wouldn't work. So you've got to make sure they're a cultural fit. And lastly, competency. Do they have the necessary skill set to do the job? Now, for most of us, the problem when we're hiring is we go right to number 4. Tell me about your experience. Are you competent? Who cares? We're not building rocket ships here, guys, right? This is property management. Hire for attitude and train for skill. If you find someone who has a lot of good character, good chemistry, and good culture, you can probably train for some competency. Those are the things to look for. And it's not a 3 out of 4. If you're making a hiring decision, it's got to be checking the box on all 4 of those things, or you'll probably regret it. It just reduces the chances of you making a mistake. And every time we shorten this process, we get burned. Every time. We made a hire, this is a while back, we had to hire a property manager, and we were under the gun. We were busy, we needed somebody, and I was interviewing a gal, and her name was Carla. And I liked Carla, she was pretty good, but we'd only interviewed like twice. And she called me up, and she said, Mark, I would love to work at Grace, but I have another job opportunity. Someone's offered me a position. I'd love to work for you guys, but I gotta let them know tomorrow. So what's it gonna be? What do? I haven't gone through the stuff. I haven't gone through our 5 interviews or whatever we do. But we need somebody. She'll work. I said, Carla, let's do it. Woohoo, bring her on. So right away, just wasn't great. She wasn't really melding with our other people. Like it just wasn't quite there. Well, we're on about week 3. And we happen to have our monthly all-team meeting. Once a month, we have a team meeting. So we all go into our conference room. It's just a big round table, and we sit around, and we have a team meeting. And I typically lead these team meetings. So in this particular team meeting, I'm there, I'm talking, I'm doing my thing. And for some reason, I don't remember why, I had to get up and leave the room for a few minutes. So I get up, I walk out of the room. The meeting's still going on. Somebody else just picked up. I come back in the room 5 minutes later, and I kind of pause because Carla is sitting where I'd been sitting, and my stuff is now where her stuff was. And the meeting's still going on, and I kind of paused, and I was thinking, what was I? And I kind of look at her, and she looks at me, and she goes, kind of under her breath, she's like, yeah, I just moved your stuff over there, and I just put my stuff. And I was like, oh okay. I'm looking around, I'm waiting for the joke, like, gotcha, I was like, okay, whatever. So I sit down, and the meeting happens. And so after the meeting was over, I walked into one of my team members' offices, and I said, hey, did I miss something? Like, wasn't I sitting in that spot? And he goes, Mark, it was weird. Like, that was really weird. The meeting's going on, and you left, and like, she looked around, and she got up, and she picked up your stuff, and put it over there, and picked up her stuff, and sat in your chair, and it was weird. It was weird. I was like, yeah, that is weird. Now, it's another team member. I said, hey, what's up with that? Mark, it was creepy. It was just creepy weird. Like, who does that? And I was like, yeah, who does that? So guess what I did that day? I fired Carla. Now, I'm getting a lot of judgy looks right now. A lot of judgment. Hear me out. I didn't fire her for sitting in my chair. I fired her for being weird, okay? Because who does that? Who sits in the boss's chair on the 3rd week of work? So if you ever want to come to Grace Management, you're welcome to visit, but do not sit in my chair. All right, number 3, firing mistakes. Now, hopefully, if we get the hiring right, we don't have to do firing. But from time to time, when you have made a mistake, and you will make mistakes in the hiring, you're going to have to make a firing decision. And that's hard. It's very, very hard. And nobody likes doing that. But the question that I find to be helpful when you're faced with the idea of, should I let this person go or not, there's just one question to answer. And we all have made bad hires, as I said. And every office has a crazy person, don't they? Think of the crazy person right now in your office. Just think of them in your head. Don't say their name. Think of them, right? Got them in your head? Okay. Now, by the way, if you can't think of anybody, guess what? It's you. Sorry, Lyle. Sorry, buddy. It's you. This is the question to ask yourself when you're considering making a firing decision. Knowing now what I know about this person, if I could go back in time, would I hire them again? I like this because it cuts through all the junk. It cuts through the idea of, but maybe they'll get better. But maybe they've got potential. Who cares? Knowing now what you know about this person, if you could go back in time, would you hire him again? And if the answer to this question is no, then guess what you need to do as the big bad boss? You gotta let him go. And it's hard, and you're gonna have the worst night of sleep the night before you fire them. You will. That just means you have a soul. That's all that means, right? But by the way, you'll sleep like a baby on night number 2, okay? All right, problem number 4, mistake number 4, lack of consistent systems. And it's important that we say consistent systems. We all like systems, and we all have different meanings for the word systems. But we have to know in our industry, the more we can be systematized from a process standpoint, the better it's going to be for our operation. It doesn't matter what industry you look at, systems equal success, right? What's the success of McDonald's? Quality of their food? No. It's the consistency of their product. Right? I was on a flight not too long ago. I'm flying on a flight, and I happen to be sitting right behind the cockpit, like in the front center chair there. And I'm looking, I can see inside the cockpit. And I see the 2 pilots as they're doing their stuff, and they're reaching between, they had like something down there, they're reaching between, they pull out this old dog-eared binder, and they're flipping through it on things, and they put it back, and they pull it back up, they look again. That's called a pre-flight checklist. They're flying an airplane, for crying out loud. And they're using a paper checklist, a system. We've got to have that. Now, if you want to give yourself a self-assessment, think of this concept. There's a continuum, and on one side, the bad side, is complexity and variation. How much complexity and variation is there in your business? Is there a lot of variation? Does everything get done differently? If somebody walks in your office and says, hey, can you, I need to break my lease. Are you like, okay, let's see, how are we going to handle this? Or do you have a process for those weird things? You want simplicity and am I getting this backwards? You want simplicity and consistency. You don't want the variation. And we're all somewhere on that continuum, aren't we? The goal is to continually move towards simplicity and consistency. Every person is treated the same, every way, every time. This has so many benefits to a company. And I think the way that we've done it, that's worked really well for us, is to take it a step further and have what we call position-specific system manuals. Position-specific. Well, now, why are they position-specific? Well, because our director of accounting's position looks nothing like our director of leasing's position. They do nothing similar. They're very, very different. I'm the president of the company. I have a president system manual. I don't do anything that leasing does. I don't do anything that accounting does, but I have some things I need to do. This is what makes, and we love our people, but this is what makes you not people dependent, but systems dependent. You've got to be focused on this stuff. Just start documenting your processes. It's just that simple. Number 5, not charging enough. Oh, guys, we've been in business for 41 years. In the last decade, we have seen a contraction of the ability to charge what we charge like never before. And this isn't going to stop. This is not going to stop. This is impacting our industry in a huge way. It's impacting bigger than that. Did you see this headline just last week in the Wall Street Journal? That's Charles Schwab. Charles Schwab cuts fees on online stock trades to what? To 0. And yes, rattling rivals. Underneath that, it said this: the move by Schwab, the largest e-broker, shook up the sector as it grapples with investor expectations of low or no fee financial services. Do our investors have expectations similar to that? You bet they do. You bet they do. This was in the Wall Street Journal the next day. It's a screenshot. I was reading the Wall Street Journal. Full page ad. Charles Schwab. Our 0 is less than their 0. Which, if you think about it, shouldn't like your 0 be or greater? I don't know. Anyway, does it make sense? And then the industry is good about following up, though, because the very next page in the Wall Street Journal is a full-page article from their competitor, Ameritrade. 0% commissions, our award-winning investing experience. I thought, oh, that's funny. They followed them up. And then I turned the page, and there's another one. Fidelity. At Fidelity, free is actually free. Right? They jumped on this stuff. Now, if you're thinking, well, Mark, that's interesting, but we're not selling stocks, buddy. Okay? We're doing real estate. Oh, that's a good point. Let me tell you, oh, by the way, that's how much the stock market value dropped the next day in 24 hours of those 3 companies combined. That's $13 billion. Because their valuation, just like yours, is tied to their income. When income goes down, value goes down. Now, the article said this, buried deep inside. The race to 0 is also happening in other areas of finance, like asset management. Guys, what do we manage? We're managing assets. Some digital advisors are offering free, say it with me, management fees. Woo! sends a chill down my spine. Doesn't that get you excited? This is the world we live in. I wish you could all see the looks on your faces right now. You're in shock, right? Now, it's not the end of the world, but this is what's happening, and it's not going to get better. Management fees are going to go down and down and down and down. So I think the answer to that is this. This is our answer to it, because we can't charge more management fees. But you know what we can offer? We can offer ancillary business services. Now, definitionally, an ancillary business service is simply this. It's a non-primary function of the business that enhances the main service. Non-primary, but that enhances the main service. Let's step outside the property management space, and let me give you some examples. I fly Southwest a fair amount, and I was reading an article on I was actually flying on a Southwest flight, reading an article about Southwest Airlines, and the article said this: when Southwest Airlines sells a ticket, at best, they break even on that ticket price, but usually they lose money. Huh? I thought, what? That doesn't make any sense, because I know Southwest is one of the most profitable airlines, but they lose money on most ticket sales. How's that possible? Well, the article went on to say, because what they're very good at is ancillary business services. And it makes sense. See, when I book a flight through Southwest, I go onto their website, I book my flight, and guess how I pay? With my Southwest credit card. Does Southwest Airlines get a small piece of that transaction when I pay with my Southwest airline credit card? Yeah, they do. And when I click pay, I get a pop-up. And the pop-up says, hey, you need to rent a car? Click here and you can reserve a car. And I'll often do it. And does Southwest Airlines get a piece of that car rental transaction? Yeah, they do. And I'll get another pop-up. You need a hotel? And then I'll get on the airline. I'm flying home on Friday. I'll fly home. And as I'm sitting on Southwest, the lady will come along, or the guy, and they'll say, hey, would you like something to drink? And I'm going to order 2 glasses of wine, because you people are exhausting. And they're going to charge me money for that, and I'll pay for it. Is Southwest in the wine selling business? No. But do they make pretty good profit on that? Why? That's how they make their money. Let me give you another example. I was getting gas in my car the other day. And it was fascinating to me because I'm looking around at the different things that the gas station was selling as ancillary business services. And they had a lot of things. Did you know that gas stations do not make a profit when they sell you gas? They don't make any money. Well, how do they make their profit? I don't know if you can see this picture or not, but that's firewood next to the gas station there. Now, we're Colorado, a little backwoodsy. Don't ask me about the wisdom of putting the firewood next to the gas. But that's $3.99 for a bundle of firewood. High profit margin or low profit margin? That's pretty good. That's where they make their money, on selling that. They sell cigarettes. They sell the Monster drinks. That's where they make their profit. They get it. They get it that, hey, we can't charge consumers. I'll give you one more example. That's my son, Gabriel. Now, last summer, Gabriel wanted to make some money. He wanted to buy a trampoline. Dad, I want to buy a trampoline. I said, great. And like any capitalist father should say, I said, well, where are you going to come up with the money? He's like, what? Dad, how am I going to come up with money? I said, hey, can you mow lawns? Well, yeah, I guess we can mow lawns. I said, all right, well, here's how we're going to do it. So we made little flyers, Gabe's Lawn Service. Isn't he adorable? Yeah. Gets that from his dad. So we go out and we go knocking on doors, knocking the first door. And I thought, what a great learning experience for my kid. So I make him knock on the door, and I'm like, okay, look him in the eye. Like, hey, I'm Gabriel. I'm like, no, look him up. I'm good. Shakes his hand. I'm just mowing lawns. And the first guy's like, nope, don't want to do it. It was so cute. He's like, oh, Daddy said no. He said no. I'm like, you got to face rejection, son. This is how we do it in the Cunningham household. All right. So eventually, he gets like 8, 9 lawns that he's mowing. So every Saturday, Dad and Gabe go out and we're mowing lawns all day long. About halfway through the summer, he goes, Dad, he's counting his money. He's like, I'm making good money. And I said, yeah, you are making good money. He goes, Dad, let's mow more. And I was like, oh. I'm spending all day Saturday. I am way too good for that, okay? And I was like, I said, Gabe, I can't. I'm exhausted. I can't mow more lawns. He's like, well, Dad, I want to make more money. And I said, okay, well, are there things you could do for these people, Gabriel? Maybe things you could do for them that they need around lawn service that are add-ons that they might pay you for. I might even have said ancillary business services. So let me ask you, pretend you're advising Gabe about other services or things he can do for his clients around the idea of lawn services to make some money. Just go ahead, shout it out. Let me hear it. What are some things? Weeding, planting flowers, fertilizing, sweeping, dog poop, dog walking. There's so many. Okay, stop. Okay, what was that? 4 seconds? In 6 seconds, I heard, 24 things shouted out. Guys, we're in the real estate business. We have more opportunities for ancillary business services than any industry ever. Okay, this side of the room is boring. I'll try it over here. Guys, we're in the ancillary real estate service. We've got more opportunities for ancillary services than any industry ever. Thank you. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. Pretty good. Pretty good. And they can be anything, right? They can be anything. You can do lawn mowing services. You could do inspections, which, by the way, you should be charging for, right? A buddy of mine owns a property management company. He said, Mark, my friend owned a carpet cleaning business, and he was going out of business. And he said, hey, do you want my carpet cleaning truck? I'll sell it to you for like $500. And so my PM buddy was like, sure. And he thought, I'll use it to like clean carpets on my vacancies. I'll charge my owners less because I own the truck. And he started doing that. Then he started offering it to his tenants. We had breakfast, and he said this. He said, Mark, I'm making so much money cleaning carpets, I want to get out of the PM business. How cool is that, right? That's what we're talking about. Now, your goal as a company should be this. Half of your money, 50%, should come from non-management fee sources. Make that your goal. Do you even know what the number is? Go check it out. Find out what it is and make it your goal for 2020 to get that number closer to 50-50. And there's tons of information. There's classes on income streams, but you've got to focus on this stuff. All right, we got to go fast. Number 6, not knowing your numbers. Let me tell you 3 statements I think you should be reviewing every single month. Number 1 is a profit and loss. Now, that's just like a basic, pull it out of QuickBooks, income, expenses, profit and loss. I don't care how big your company is or how small your company is. You should be reviewing this every month. And a good way to measure how tight you are is how fast do you close out your accounting cycle each month. Not your trust accounting cycle, your business accounting cycle. Do you close it out quickly? Are you a week behind? Are you months behind? You got to get that tight. My favorite day of the month used to always be the first day of the month. It was. Because that was the day I could balance our internal company checkbook and see how much money we made. Now, I know I'm weird. I'm very weird that way. But you got to close these things out quickly. You need to review that every month. Number 2, this is what we call it. We call it a CEO dashboard. This is a place where we pull data from all over the company and we put it onto a spreadsheet. All sorts of data. So, for example, it's going to have things like this. It's going to calculate our profit margin, our percentage of income spent on payroll. How many doors do we add that month? How many doors do we lose? What's our profit per door? How many team members do we have per door? How many applications do we receive? How many move-outs, leases signed? Tons of stuff, right? Now, the beautiful thing about this isn't that it's not just a snapshot, but what we're really looking for on this is we're looking for trends. Because it's going to be in a spreadsheet with 1 month, and then the next month, and then the next month, and the next month. So I can see now, we're getting less and less leases signed for the last 4 months. Is that a trend? What's going on? Or, good, our leasing fees are going up every month. This is important. You need to have a doc like this, and it doesn't need to be rocket science, but that you're pulling this stuff regularly. This third thing that we look at on a monthly basis is what we call our PE, or our performance evaluation sheet. Every team member within their position fills out once a month a PE sheet, a performance evaluation, and it is role specific. Remember I talked about position-specific system manuals? So our PE sheet is specific to that role. And it's going to have a laundry list of questions for things that we're trying to measure, metrics. And they're going to check it red or green, and they're going to go over it with their boss. I have a PE sheet for the president that I fill out every month for me. It lets me know how I'm doing. So I'm responsible for some financial things. Got to make sure we're growing, we're getting new accounts, so I can determine how I'm doing. And by the way, if you want that, I'll be happy to share that with you. All right, number 7. They over-focus on one of 2 roles. These are mistakes companies make. See, there's 2 roles in your company. These are not roles that you're probably aware of, but they're 2 roles. And the problem is sometimes we over-focus. So I'm going to show you a short video. It's very short. Watch this video, and at the end of this video, it's going to ask you a question. This is going to help you determine which of these 2 roles you must naturally fit into. So you ready? It's going to start quickly. So watch fast.
A test of selective attention.
All right, count how many times the players wearing white pass the basketball. Okay, how many? 17? 18? 19? The correct is 15. But did you see the gorilla? Oh. Now be honest, raise your hand if you did not see the gorilla. Woo. Now everybody who saw the gorilla is like, what is wrong with these idiots? How did they not see the gorilla? It was right there the whole time, right? But how did you not, for those of you that didn't see the gorilla, why didn't you see it? You were counting passes. Your job was to count passes. And if you got 15 passes, good job. And for those of you that saw the gorilla, you're like, stupid people, I saw the gorilla. If I said, oh, good job, how many passes did you count? And you're like, 3. That's not good either, right? See, we've got 2 roles. Now, one of these roles can be defined as like the gorilla role, the big picture, the idea person role. That's a very important function. We have to have that person in the company. Now, let me show you some positive traits, some strengths of this gorilla role. If this is you, you're a big thinker. You love being in charge. You're very optimistic. You're always ready for the new challenge. You love new ideas. You've got 5 new ideas before you get out of the shower every day. Now, most of them are stupid, but you still got them, right? Now, our gorillas also have some weaknesses. For example, they get very bored quickly and very easily. You got bored watching the video because it was more than 30 seconds. Gets frustrated when others don't appreciate their awesome ideas. They don't like the details. And it can be very impatient with others. Who are my gorillas? Let me see your hands. Yeah, the hands shoot up. You're like, yeah, that's me, baby. All right, let's look at our pass counter. Our other position is our pass counter. We got to count passes, don't we? We've got to be in charge of operations. Operations matter. This is a very important role. So what are some common traits for our pass counters? Great communicator of detail. Very steady and patient. Focused on implementation. They love checklists and accountability. When I was talking about systems, they got all excited. Great follow through. These people are wonderful at this. But you're not perfect either, because you've got some areas of weakness. For example, accusations of pessimism, over-focused on details, unrealistic expectations of others, cautious to change. Who are our pass counters? Yeah. And it's always funny. When I ask that question, it's so funny, because when I say, hey, gorillas, raise your hand, it's like this. And I'm like, hey, pass counters, raise your hand. It's like, do you think anybody's going to see me if I raise my hand? Did he say, should I raise it now? Is that too high? Oh, geez, but he said to raise it. I better raise it. Oh, gosh. I did it. Put it down. Oh. Okay. We've got to have these 2 roles. And they're distinct roles. And this is the challenge, especially if you're a small operation. If you're a one-man or one-woman shop, who's your gorilla? Yeah, it's you. And who's your pass counter? That's you. That's hard, isn't it? That's hard. Now, hopefully you want to grow to the point that you can separate these roles and figure out which one you do best, and you embrace that role, and you hire someone to do the opposite. All right, number 8, and then we'll get out of here. Now, this is not a mistake. This is a recommendation, okay? See, in our business, it is very easy to get cynical, isn't it? 41 years we've been in business. You know how many times we've been lied to in 41 years? Yeah. You know how many times we've been stolen from? You know how we've had employee theft. We had an employee one time who wrote themselves checks for their gambling habit. Right? Yeah, it wasn't you, Jessica, don't worry. We've had a lot of bad things. Do you think it's easy to become cynical after that stuff? So one way to make sure you don't become cynical, because I've got to be careful of this, I can do this, is to look for opportunities to make a difference, usually with your tenants. We're coming up on Thanksgiving, aren't we? You know, one thing we're going to do is we're going to get a bunch of gift cards and go give them to some of our poorest tenants. And we don't just do it to be nice, we do it to kind of check ourselves. Because we're like, oh, but they paid late last month. I know they did. But you know what? I don't want to be cynical. I don't want to be a cynical person. You've got to find those things to do. And it's hard because we want to have processes and procedures and be heartless. And I get it. But don't go there because it's not fun. It's not a good place to be. You know, one thing we did this last year, we started this, we call it grace management. We call it Grace Gives. So every time we sign a lease, our company, we transfer some money into a special savings account we set up. Every time we sign a lease. Put some more money. We gave our team members opportunities to contribute if they wanted to. And what we use this money for is when a good tenant runs into a financial difficulty and like they're stuck, and we're like, I know you lost your job and I like you, but what do I do? Well, you know what we can do now? We can pay their rent. How cool is that? We've used this several times, and it is so neat to see. Now, do we have to do this? No. You know why we do it? Because I don't want to be cynical. This helps us to make sure that, you know what, some of these people are good people. They run into bad scenarios, and if we can help them, let's do it. Let's try this. Don't give in to that temptation, because otherwise you will become Cynical. All right, we had let me see if I can go back one. Okay. If you want that PE sheet I mentioned, that's our PM training website, propertymanagementsystem.org. If you go on there, I'll be happy to send you, just do one or two things. Drop me an email or go on there and on the video tab, I think it is, you can enter information. Just put in your email address and put the words PE sheet in there, and I will be happy to send you that doc so that you can start putting those things in place. But folks, listen, we're about to hit 2020, right? What things do you need to do so that hopefully next year at this point in time, when your kid, your wife, your girlfriend, your friend, whatever, starts asking about your job and you talk about it, they can say, wow, you've got the best job in the world. Wouldn't that be cool? Hey, thank you all. I wish you well. Appreciate it.